Speech Night is a one-of-a-kind, biannual campus tradition established in 1971, making it the longest running event of its kind in the country.
So let's get started. You get a means of connection between people or places in particular.
Public speaking is power.
You say things in different ways, it means things, and it means different things to different people.
But for us to be able to alleviate someone's misfortune, we have to first be able to listen to their problem.
Acquiring the skill of speaking before a group of people may be one of the most important.
Well, there's a word to describe that feeling.
According to the Walt Disney Company, they currently operate from infinity to beyond.
Just comes a time when you have to stand up for your rights, and you have to stand up for what you believe, and you have to stand up for what's right.
And at the time, I just kept thinking, I was like, you got up here, and you did what no one else could do. You got up here, you did what so many people were afraid to do. I was like, stop listening because you're already a winner.
First, would you send someone to prison to make yourself feel better? I probably would say no.
It was quite an event. I was not prepared to win, did not expect to win. It was a surprise and a good one. What you need to do is find a way to channel that nervousness into what you're doing, into your speaking, into your presentation. And I tried to remember that, and I guess it worked that night.
I mean, I was one of maybe 7 people who were, honored to give a speech at this amazing event in front of so many people, but that's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot of stress.
To bring this all to them. What are you going to say to them?
Hello, and welcome to the IU Indianapolis Department of Communication Speech Contest. My name is Natalie Tysinger, and I am the undergraduate lab director and the assistant director of tonight's event. A quick reminder that your listening skills are important tonight, both as audience members and judges and as attendees. If weather necessitates it, we'll interrupt with special instructions. We have a plan, so please just listen for any directions we might have. Do you have your phone? Please make sure that it is set to off or vibrate, but that does not mean you have no use for it. Later, you will use it to take a picture, to vote, and to get a screenshot. That is all for 60 points, so do not forget. Additionally, please take some photos. We'll open an assignment slot on the Speakers Lab sites. We'd love for you to upload some good pictures from tonight. If we can use them for anything, we'll give you photo credit. Now, before we get started, I want you to meet your MC for tonight, Kaylin King. Kaylin is a freshman majoring in ASL interpreting with a minor in business. She currently serves as the Vice President of University Tower and represents that building in our undergraduate Senate government. In addition to this, she works with the IU McKinney School of Law and is a part of our on-campus a cappella group, On a Side Note. With a passion for communication and its ability to inspire, empower, and unite, Kaylin also won first place as the 109th speech contest winner. So let's give a warm round of applause and welcome your MC for tonight, Kaylin King.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Kaylin King. I was honored to be chosen as the winner of just this last speech competition, the 109th. But they just couldn't get enough of me, so now I'm back. I kid. I really am truly honored to be chosen as your MC for the 110th speech night tonight. While I know it is a Monday, and I know it's pretty late, and I know we're all trying to survive the rain outside, I promise that these competitors have put forth the utmost amount of work and are so excited to share their amazing speeches with you tonight. These contestants not only survived their quarterfinals, but they also fought immensely through a semifinals and whittled it down to our final 7 here today. They're here to present their best work. And after these contestants present their speeches, we'll have a little bit of music for you to listen to and a live singer while you lock in your votes and make your decisions. This night is a wonderful way to celebrate the hard work that you and your peers have completed and pass the easiest final of your life. But it's also important that we're here to embrace the topics that matter to us as we become adults and enter society. But before we get into it, we'll hold off just a little bit longer as we hear from our sponsor, the Department of Communication. So please, everybody put your hands together and give a warm welcome to the chair of the Department of Communication, Dr. Adam Maxwell.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Adam Maxwell, Chair of the Department of Communication here at IU Indy. And it's a joy to welcome all of you, public speaking scholars, friends, parents, colleagues, and guests, to the 110th semi-annual speech night here at the historic Madam Walker Theater. Our department has hosted this event at the end of every fall and every spring semester since 1971. It's the longest continuously running event on our campus. Over the years, Speech Night has showcased some of our best students, speakers who've challenged us, inspired us, and invited us to see the world in new ways. Tonight, we get to add to that tradition. You'll hear 7 of the strongest speeches selected from roughly 4,000 delivered this semester. And you're not just the audience. You're part of the process. Your evaluations help determine the outcome of the competition. That outcome really matters. The winner tonight will take home a beautiful award, bragging rights, a very nice line on their resume, and a very nice scholarship. So listen carefully, think critically, and choose wisely. Before we begin, I want to thank a few people who make this night possible. First, thank you to all of the R110 instructors. You have guided students through nerves, drafts, practice runs, and presentation days. Your work changes lives, and it shows in the speeches we'll hear tonight. Next, the R110 leadership team, who keep this enormous course running smoothly, coordinating well over 100 classes and thousands of students every year, and who have done all the behind-the-scenes work that brings this event to life. A special thank you to our course director, Dr. Angela Sisson, to our Speakers Lab mentors who coach students one-on-one, to our technical crew capturing the event, and to our wonderful MC, Kaylin King. I also want to take a moment, as chair, to say a bit about who we are as the Department of Communication, and invite you, especially our students, to imagine yourselves continuing your work with us. Our department is home to multiple majors and minors. You can learn about communication studies, focusing on relationships, organizations, public advocacy, and how messages shape our lives. Or you can focus in journalism and public relations, centering on reporting, storytelling, digital media, strategic communication, and public trust. Our applied theater, film, and television, where students explore performance, film, and television as powerful forms of storytelling and social impact. If you've already chosen a major, you could always, switch to us, but that's okay. There's also several minors and certificates that we offer. I'd encourage you to take a look at. We offer several, from corporate and organizational communication, to journalism and public relations, to film studies, to theater, to health communication, and more. Across these areas, students study how communication works in everyday conversations, in media and technology, in creative performance, and in public life. They learn to analyze messages, to craft them strategically and ethically, and to think about how communication shapes communities, democracy, and culture. If you're still deciding on what to study, I hope you'll take a look at what we have to offer. Whether you're drawn to public speaking or media production, journalism, strategic communication, storytelling, or performance, there's a place for you in the Department of Communication. One of the questions I often hear from students and families is, will this help me get a job? The answer, absolutely yes, but not just one job. Communication classes and degrees are built around highly marketable, transferable skills that employers say they need most, like the ability to write and speak clearly, to research, analyze, and make sense of complex information, to collaborate across differences and work well in teams, to think ethically and make judgment calls when the stakes are high, to use communication technology effectively, and to design and deliver messages that actually reach people. Those are exactly the skills students are practicing in R110, and exactly the skills that our communication students deepen. And I think that matters even more in the moment we're living in. You see, we're living in a time of significant change. Economic uncertainty, political polarization, cultural shifts, and perhaps most visibly, rapid technological change driven by tools like artificial intelligence. This semester, I had the opportunity to teach a new course called AI and Communication. In that class, students explored how generative AI works, how it produces content, how it's used in media and professional settings, and how it's already transforming communication work across industries. But what surprised me most wasn't just what students learned about AI, it was what they said about being human. We spent a lot of time asking a simple but powerful question. What does it mean to be human in the age of AI, when machines can do much of what we've done in the past? And again, students come back to the same answer. The most valuable skills are not the ones AI can replicate, but the ones that require human presence, judgment, and connection. In the class, we read a book called AI and the Art of Being Human by Jeffrey Abbott and Andrew Maynard. In it, the authors discuss what they call the human qualities spectrum, which helps us think about those skills. On one end are skills that AI can replicate, things like pattern recognition, calculation, and even some forms of creativity. But as you move across the spectrum, you get to what's harder to replicate, like reading a room, or understanding context, building trust. And at the far end are the things that are deeply human, meaning-making, moral judgment, and the ability to connect with others in real, unscripted moments. When I asked my students what skills matter most in this space, they said the same things. Things like public speaking, the ability to tell a compelling story, the ability to engage in an audience, and the ability to connect with other humans. In other words, the exact skills that are being practiced in R110 and that you'll see tonight. What's striking is that this isn't just what the students are saying, but it's what employers are saying as well. The National Association of Colleges and the National Association of Colleges and Employers, which tracks hiring trends across industries, consistently identifies competencies like communication, critical thinking, teamwork, leadership, and professionalism as some of the most in-demand skills for college graduates. These aren't niche abilities, they are the foundation that everything else builds on. And here's why this all matters. As AI becomes more capable, the value of these skills actually increases. Not because humans compete with AI at producing information, but because humans are responsible for interpreting it, for applying it, and for deciding what to do with it. In a world where content is easy to generate, the real challenge isn't producing something, it's making it matter. And that's exactly what you're going to see on the stage tonight. Every student speaking tonight chose a topic, researched it, structured an argument, anticipated questions, and then stood up and delivered it to a room full of people. This is courageous work. It is also exactly the kind of work that will reshape workplaces, communities, and public life in the years ahead. To our R110 scholars, those on stage and those in the audience, remember that by completing this course, you've invested meaningfully in your future. The work you've done here is more than a class requirement. It's a foundation you will carry with you for every part of your life. In this course, you've learned how to capture attention, establish the need for change, offer a clear path, help an audience visualize what's possible, and call them to action. You've learned the power of structure, from strong introductions to purposeful conclusions. and how to organize ideas so audiences can follow and remember. You practice supporting your claims with credible evidence, blending research with your own voice, and accepting and adapting your approach to the people in front of you. You've learned how to deliver a message with clarity and poise, even when your hands were shaking a little. These aren't just academic skills, they are life skills. So don't pack them away, keep growing as a communicator. The tools you develop in R110 aren't just for tonight, they're for everything that comes next. And for all of you in the audience, I want to ask you something of you tonight. Be present, be open, be willing to see what the power of communication can do. Listen not only for the words themselves, but for the intention behind them, the choices, the vulnerability, the work it takes to stand here and try to reach an audience. Notice how a well-told story can shift a perspective, how clear evidence can sharpen understanding, how passion can make an issue feel urgent, and how connection can happen, even among strangers, through a few minutes at a microphone. Communication at its best invites us to think differently, to imagine possibilities, and to understand one another more deeply. My hope is that tonight, you'll let these speakers do exactly that. Let them challenge you, surprise you, move you. Let them remind you why human expression still matters in a world overflowing with information. Thank you for being here, for supporting these students, and for valuing the power of communication. And now, it's my pleasure to turn the program back over to our wonderful MC, Kaylin King.
Thank you, Dr. Maxwell. Now, before we bring our first speaker to the stage, I know I've got to take more of your time, sorry guys. We've got to take a few moments to review the judging and the voting process. So I know rules, but it's important. Everybody here should have received a piece of paper that includes the event agenda, the names of the contestants, and a section with a QR code for both the program and the voting links. If you did not receive this paper, you can access these two links on the Speakers Lab Canvas site digitally. It should be on that first homepage. On the back of that event agenda that you should have with you, there's a place for you to score each contestant on a variety of categories, including their Monroe format, their citations, speech delivery, et cetera, et cetera. We ask that you please continue your scores to be fair and consistent. You've got to be an unbiased judge and base each contestant on the same criteria. But after each of our contestants have presented, you're going to go ahead and vote by ranking the contestants from your preferred to your least preferred, first being the best. When it is time to vote, you're going to use that phone camera that you've got with you, that Miss Natalie confirmed that you all have, and scan the QR code. We'll put it real big up here on the screen, but it's also on that little piece of paper that you got. We did include the link in case that works better for you. You're welcome to type it into whatever search engine you use. On that Google form, you're going to go ahead and rank those contestants the same way you did on your scoring sheet. If you don't remember the order of your speakers, that's okay. Right on that agenda, it should tell you the order, so you're not lost at all. Once those scores are calculated and the time penalties are put into place, we're going to announce third place, second place, and our 110th speech competition winner. With that, let's go ahead and take a moment and meet the 110th Speech Night competitions. We're going to start with our first speaker of the evening. His name is Rex Fallis. He's from Noblesville, a freshman majoring in secondary English education. After graduation, Rex hopes to become both an English professor and an author. In his free time, he enjoys writing, fishing, cooking, and listening to some punk rock. His professor today is Professor Avor, and with that, let's give a warm welcome to Rex on the stage.
All right, well, there we go. Got the microphone. If I get the clicker. All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Rex Fallis. I am currently an assistant football coach over at MSD Lawrence Township. I am also a substitute teacher in the HSC school district. And on top of that, like she said, a secondary English education major here at IUI. Now, I have a question for everybody here. Please don't try to think too hard about this. It's a very thought-provoking question. Who's graduated from high school here? Okay, so that's what I assume. So most of you probably went to a public high school, which is totally fine with that. I went to one too, no shame. But here's the thing. Public high schools receive funding from the local government, state government, as well as federal government. And with that money, here's the thing with that may have not properly funded a good education compared to the rest of the first world countries and their public education. Let's take a look at this. The United States has a public education ranking of 79.2%. That's its rating score according to the World Population Review. Its ranking, however, is 31st, kind of aligns with that. That is of 2024 and 2026 respectively. Let's take a look at the top 3 countries in the world. First world countries. The United Kingdom has a score of 96.8%. Sweden has a score of 99.9%. And Denmark has an astounding 100% public education rating score. That's also from the World Population Review. They're pretty cool. So let's go and take a look at some numbers. The GDP of a country, it's the money that they have, of course. The United Kingdom spent 5.9% of its GDP on public education. Sweden spent 7.3% of its GDP on public education. And Denmark spent about 6.4% of its GDP on public education. This is all from 2022 and also from the World Bank Group. Let's take a look at us real quick. So this is 2022. This is a U.S. discretionary Congress-required spending. This is from the Tax Policy Center. Our discretionary budget, which is money that's required by Congress to spend on stuff, is about 1.7 trillion US dollars. So this is what it was spent on, all of these numbers. Here is education right here, 8% of the GDP. National defense and foreign affairs expenditures were 45.2% of the American discretionary budget. So let's take a look back to 2025, good year, right? The United States GDP was 30.62 trillion US dollars, that's from the Worldometer. The 2024 public education budget, this is a year behind, was 982 billion US dollars, that's from the Education Data Initiative. So, I'm not too much of a math guy. I mean, I've never been good at it, I never will be. But if you punch those numbers to a calculator, we get this. All 50 states, all public school districts receive just 0.03% of the American GDP for their public education needs. So let's go and look at another problem here. Teachers, they hold together the public education school system. Around the world, the public school teacher salary is about the same, but here's the thing. In those 3 countries that I just listed off, Denmark, Sweden, and the UK, they get a guaranteed 25 sick days of leave, and also paid maternity leave. That's from CXC Global and the Schools UK website. The teachers here in America, they get 10 sick days for any excused absence whatsoever, and also unpaid and limited maternity leave. That's from Megan Bourne of the Southern Regional Education Board. She's pretty cool. That's weird, right? That's, compared to other first world countries, that's unfair. It's just unfair. Basically what I'm trying to say, we work our teachers way too hard and we give them too little compensation. A teacher's real job description, of course, includes teaching, but it hides creating alternative lessons for people with 504, students with 504s. So that includes dyslexia, APD, ADD, ADHD. It includes teaching a class whose students might be ahead or behind a learning standard. It includes ENL and ESL students. And also, this is a big one, student behavior management. So COVID kind of shook up the public education system in a variety of ways, but I'm more looking at the students of it. 4 out of 5 public school teachers report growing instances of poor behavior in classrooms. That's from the National Education Association. If we could give proper funding to schools, we could give teachers better, more personal lives outside of their workplace. Everyone wants that. Be real. We could fund a better school curriculum that is more inclusive of those who are ahead or behind of a standard. We can give students and staff better physical and mental health resources. That's great. And also cut down class sizes. Why should you care? Teachers are paid too little. Nobody wants to be underpaid or paid too little. If America put more funding into the public education system, we could give our teachers more money and more compensation for what they do. In turn, those teachers can come to work every single day. They're happy, they're motivated, they have no worries on their mind. Therefore, we have better supported teachers. That's good. A totally unrelated fact, elementary and middle school students, they enable along with the teacher's mood. Therefore, if a teacher's miserable, as are they throughout the day. If we have a happy teacher, we have happy students. Happy students mean better supported students, better listeners, better learners, more intelligent kids, more intelligent adults. Students will do amazing in the career that they choose, whether it's as a doctor, scientist, laborer, educator, the list goes on. With those careers, they will give back to us in so many ways. How can you help? There are multiple ways to do this, but in America, it starts with one state's influence. Indiana ranks 31st in the United States for its public education, bottom half of the country. We can plant these grassroots, we can contact our legislators to improve the quality of public education. You can find your legislators' contact information right here on this website. Also, we have upcoming elections. May 5th, vote for politicians that want to reform public education and make it better for everybody. I've made you aware of what's going on in the country right now. I've made you aware of the results that we can get from this. And I've also told you what we could do. Do we want our future doctors to use ChatGPT to diagnose us and then snub us with a huge medical bill, $4,000, $5,000? Or do we want to know for a fact that our doctor knows what they are talking about, and so we could have a great life? These are my works cited. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. We're going to welcome our second speaker to the stage tonight. Her name is Shumirai Chigatsa. She is originally from a small town in Zimbabwe and is currently a part of our nursing program. She has plans to attend medical school after graduation, and in her free time, Shumirai enjoys baking and spending time outdoors. Her instructor for the night is Professor Tackett, so please, once more, put your hands together for our next speaker.
It's 1 a.m. You've set the alarm to begin your study session. The physiology finals tomorrow, but you still have 4 topics to cover. It's now 4 a.m. You've covered 2 more topics. Why don't you help yourself to some chocolate to celebrate? You deserve it. Across the world, it's 4 a.m. Gaston wakes up. He doesn't have an alarm. He doesn't have a smartphone. His body has just memorized its schedule. He's 13 years old, but he doesn't wake up to go to school. Gaston, alongside his family, will spend the next 12 hours working in the mines of Kolwezi, Congo, to produce 1 sack of cobalt that will sell for $1 a day. This cobalt is what will be used to produce this smartphone. I am from Zimbabwe, but my story is not representative of the 615,752 Zimbabwean children reported by the US Department of Labor as working in child mining. I'm like you. I'm a college student. I come here to get an education so that I can do good and change the world. Yet I'm still ignorant enough to stand here with the cost of another child's life in my hand. There is heartbreaking, illegal child labor being used to produce our everyday conveniences, our tech, and even our chocolate. The burden is in our hands to change this. Now, a number of our everyday conveniences require raw materials, most of which come from mines. Cobalt is a precious mineral that is used in all of our battery-powered tech. So your smartphones, your laptops, your AirPods, even your electric vehicles. The USGS reports that 76% of the world's cobalt mining in 2024 came from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I want you to guess who's working in those mines. Miners without equipment, training, or safety measures. Children as young as 3 years old, spending days ingesting the fumes of toxic raw cobalt. Entire families who work for $1 a day, as explored by Al Jazeera in a documentary into cobalt mining in the Congo. But it's not just cobalt. The US Department of Labor also reports that 700,000 children in Ghana are currently working in cocoa production. That is over 3,000 times the amount of people in this room tonight, working in Ghana alone, in cocoa production alone. Now, as much as I would love to believe in the good nature of my audience, that what I've said has swayed you and moved you, that your phone is burning a hole in your pocket, and that you are angered by the fact that these corporations have made you accomplice to abuse, I know that we are human beings. And no matter how many images of frail children I show you, I can only sway you to act by showing you how this affects you. So what do I have to do with child mining? It's not my burden if someone is working in the mines in the Congo. Well, the reality is child mining looks like a good solution. You don't feel it, but it is dangerously unstable. The current pattern is we are over-mining, under-regulating, over-consuming, and we are depleting our resources rapidly because of our under-regulation. A 2019 research study by Tisdale and Sfizero shows that even a minor decline in mining productivity can lead to complete economic collapse. That's where we're headed. When we now have volatile supply of these resources, companies have to bear that weight. But they don't bear it for long, they put it on you. More expensive tech, more expensive chocolate, and everything comes back to you as the consumer. So child mining isn't some distant moral issue that doesn't have anything to do with you. Because very soon, it'll reach every supermarket, every checkout line, and your pocket. So what can we do? We should introduce required traceability. The US Congress should pass a law that requires companies who sell tech and chocolate in the United States to provide yearly maps of their supply chain, taking us down to the very mine or farm that produces their raw materials. In addition to this, they should be able to verify that no exploitation happens at any stage of their production. Systems like this are not only possible, but already exist through corporations like Fair Trade. Fair Trade works to ensure that its farmers and miners receive fair wage and support from those who benefit from their work. In addition to this, we should also have fair trade tax. These are small fees on high-risk goods, so about $1 to $3 per smartphone and a couple of cents per bar of chocolate. This money would go into a protected fund that will be used for building schools for children in high-risk regions, as well as funding safe practices for miners and farmers in these regions, as well as ensuring that we have these traceability systems. So what does the solution practically look like? Well, for you, nothing changes. You still wake up, you still have to study for physio, you still have all of your luxuries, your phone, your laptop, your cars, your chocolate. But for Gaston, he gets to wake up in the morning and go to school. He gets to spend his day getting his rightful education. He'll return home in the evening as his father sets down his gear from a day working in the mines. Gaston didn't have to spend his hours ingesting the fumes of cobalt, but neither did he have to worry that his father would be buried alive in the mines, because we have provided them with a safe, working framework. In addition to this, what could you do right now? Well, you can start by scanning this QR code that leads you to sign a petition to implement fair trade tax. So those small fees that make a huge difference in funding the education of so many children. Our everyday conveniences come from exploitation. The system is not only unsustainable for the children working behind it, but also for you as the consumer. Through required traceability, we can make a change, but you can also change your habits. Buy fair trade certified products. These are products which have a guarantee of not having come from exploitation at any point in their supply chain. Also, keep your tech for longer. Resist the temptation to replace devices with every single update. Your convenience should never come at the cost of another child's livelihood. So take 20 seconds to scan this and let the same phone that comes from exploitation be the one that ends it.
Thank you, Shumirai. Our next speaker is Ava Ferguson. She's from here in Indianapolis. She's majoring in business management. After graduation, Ava plans to continue her career as a professional body piercer, a field that she has worked in since 2021. In her free time, Ava enjoys oil painting, learning, and exploring different forms of art. Her professor for tonight is Professor Tackett. So with that, let's give a warm welcome to Ava as we get ready for her speech.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is really embarrassing, actually. I know this was supposed to be a professional event. I probably should have made sure that I looked professional. I probably should have taken out my piercings and covered up any tattoos. My name is Ava Ferguson, and I don't want to look like you. I don't need to ask who in this room has modified their appearance in one way or another, because if you look left and if you look right, everybody here has. Even if you're thinking, oh, well, Ava, I don't have any tattoos. I don't have any piercings. Modifying your body and modifying your appearance is a lot more than just that. I'm talking about braces, veneers, lip flip, lipo, BBL, waist trainers, Botox, etc. The list is near endless. The biggest difference is which of those we consider to be acceptable. As somebody with very visible modifications, this is something I navigate daily, how I'm perceived before I even have the opportunity to speak. This isn't my experience alone, and it doesn't end at just tattoos and piercings. Professionalism isn't neutral. It selectively accepts appearances based on bias, history, and profit, rather than on the individual and who they are. And it's about time that we change that so everyone can benefit. The problem is that professionalism isn't based on fairness or ability alone. Research conducted in negotiable bodies shows that even today, having visible tattoos or piercings has a significant negative impact on your employability, which is kind of strange when we learn that historically, tattooing has existed across cultures for centuries. And in the thesis Impure Bodies, we learn that tattooing was reintroduced to the European world when sailors had interactions with indigenous islanders. In the Code of Indian Offenses by Hiram Price, it was made illegal for Native Americans to participate in their own cultural practices, including forms of tattooing. At that same time in history, some estimates say that nearly 90% of our servicemen wore tattoos. These cultures were not just admired. They were commodified, criminalized, erased, and exploited. What we're left with today is a standard of professionalism that is still rooted in these European norms. Your appearance itself isn't inherently unprofessional, but that idea is reinforced through the inconsistency. When we don't clearly define our expectations, it becomes whatever people are comfortable with. And that level of comfort is directly shaped by personal bias. Today, institutions like Indiana University of Indianapolis, when describing the professional appearance that they require for professional interviews, they use language like making sure your hair is cleanly trimmed and controlled, and that you should avoid displaying tattoos and remove excessive piercings. But they fail to actually define what does controlled mean and what is excessive. And then furthermore, they use language like professional hairstyles. But what is a professional hairstyle? I feel like that's something we should know if we're getting ready for these interviews. Well, I searched it for you guys so you don't have to. And this is what we saw. Images of straight, natural colored, long hair. I'm sure that's something we can all do, right? It might take me a little bit of work, but we can get there. And to know what we want to avoid, we also need to know what an unprofessional hairstyle looks like. So I also searched that up for you. And we have images like this, which, oh, I'm sorry, that's gotta be a coincidence, right? That when I look up unprofessional hairstyles, we see almost exclusively Black women with natural hair textures and protective hairstyles. What's so unprofessional about that? This language isn't creating fairness. It creates loopholes for discrimination and bias that is clearly being taken advantage of. These expectations prioritize your appearance over your experience. So we know that these expectations are biased and inconsistently enforced. So we know they're being used to judge people unfairly. We have to start by redefining professionalism through clear and inclusive language. When we leave these expectations open to interpretation, we're just leaving it to whatever people are comfortable with. Professionalism has to be defined based on things like safety, professional requirements when necessary, role-specific needs, and hygiene. But beyond hygiene, role-specific needs, and safety, what does a piercing, a tattoo, or a hairstyle have anything to do with your ability to successfully complete your job? I would argue that it has nothing to do with it. So what do we do about that? We know that professionalism is not being treated fairly. It's enough of an issue that we're seeing it today at Indiana University, where that language is not inclusive. So we start by taking action. We want to see a future where everybody can present themselves in any manner that they see fit. I went to school and I got an education. I should be a fair candidate for that position, not my piercings having any effect over it. And that future isn't far out of our reach either. Today, we have professionals like Irini Kaipara, who is a current member of the New Zealand Parliament. She's in politics. It doesn't get a lot more professional than that. And she's redefining the image of professionalism by bringing tattoos and culture into her workplace. Previously a reporter and a news anchor, she's redefining the professional appearance. In her words, I used to cover stories, and now I change them. With that information, we know that something has to change. In body modification professional appearances, we learn that the right looks are just as important as an employee with the right opinions, that your appearance is directly tied to your success, that the right looks are just as important as an employee with the right skills, aptitudes, and emotional dispositions. And then we learn in Ellis's writings on body art in the workplace that people with tattoos and piercings are still viewed as unprofessional, irresponsible, and less qualified than their unmodified peers. So even going toe-to-toe with the same background, experience, education, experience everything, the person that more narrowly fits into that image is the person who gets the job. And when institutions reinforce this idea that you can just buy your way into the appearance that they want you to look like, they're not enforcing an idea of professionalism. They're putting the idea out there that this is something that can be bought, that this is not something you have to perform, that it's commercialization, it's not professionalism, it's commodification, that just enough money, the highest buyer can get in there. So what do we do about it? How do we change this idea of professionalism? Well, it starts with all of us taking action. So if you live in the Indianapolis area, this is your Senator, Andrea Hunley, and this is your representative. And they have a whole office staffed of people who will answer your call. You can use the script on screen to let them know that you are a constituent from Indianapolis and you want to see action like the Crown Act, which supports making discrimination against hair illegal. It was brought up in Indiana in 2024, but dropped, but it's been passed in 30 other states. And you can scan this QR code on screen to sign a petition to make it happen. And then you can vote. Midterm elections are coming up, and that's how we make real change happen. So today I've showed you that professionalism isn't neutral. It selectively accepts appearances based on bias, history, and profit, and vague language doesn't help that. My worth is not tied to my appearance, and neither is yours. I don't want to look like you because I shouldn't have to. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ava, and thank you to you guys for being such a great audience. We're gonna get going with our fourth speaker. Tonight, our fourth speaker is Sammy Fuller. They are from Greenwood, Indiana. She is studying biology on a pre-dental track here at IUI with the goal of attending dental school and eventually opening her own practice. In her free time, Sammy enjoys roller skating and gardening, and she also has 3 taxidermied rats. Her instructor is Professor Hundley, so let's give a warm welcome to Sammy.
Imagine this, you're leaving the library or just a late night class after a long night of studying. You're tired, you're hungry, you're trudging your way, you're making your way to the university tower in desperate need of some food. But the dining hall has been closed since 8. So you go to the den, but the sticky, syrupy floor and the smell of the grease makes your stomach turn. Your last option, a vending machine down on the first floor. You go down, you grab a sandwich out of the machine, one final attempt to get your body the nutrients it so desperately needs. But looking at the ingredients, apo-8 cartinol, riboflavin, corn syrup solids, spilectin, and monocalcium phosphate, you put it back, you decide you'd rather go to bed hungry. According to a research paper done at Ole Miss, about 99.8% of students snack throughout the day. So it's pretty safe to say that almost all of you have experienced this at one point or another in your college experience so far, the decision between ultra-processed foods or no food at all. Hello, my name is Sammy Fuller. I'm a freshman here at IU, and coming from a family that values healthy eating and just healthy choices, I quickly realized here at IU that we don't have healthy eating or healthy choices, especially for students who are staying up late into the night. When I first came to IU, I was ecstatic about the variety of food here. The den, the dining hall, the marketplace, the food court, there's so much food. And that was one of the main reasons I chose IU, the variety of food, because I really wanted to continue my healthy eating habits from home. Everyone made the jokes about, oh, well, you know, your main diet's gonna be ramen noodles. You're gonna be drinking energy drinks like there's no tomorrow. So that's why one reason I chose IU. But I quickly realized that a variety isn't always a good thing, especially when you're staying up late to study. And according to a study done at the Department of Neurology at the University of Michigan, the average bedtime of a college student is 12 to 1 a.m. I'm guessing you all agree with that. Well, it's a fact. But anyway, but so much of our campus closes mid-afternoon. You get your lunch at 12. Maybe you don't, you have a class at 12. But 3 o'clock, bam, everything's shut off. You're on your own. Go find something off campus if you have a car. So much of our campus closes so early. Now, there's a saving grace. I have found 2 things on campus, 2 healthy options here, 2 farmers' fridges in the LD building in the university library that provide us with healthy whole foods, fresh daily. But having about 14,000 students rely on just 2 vending machines, it's a gateway to poor eating habits, and I bet you have all probably have seen these before, and they're typically empty. Just empty, because there's so many students here. And students already struggle with mental health problems like depression, anxiety. Maybe it's just a lack of motivation or just a lot of stress. And according to a study done at the Department of Neurology at the University of Michigan, according to a study done at University of California, having a lack of healthy food directly and negatively affects our mental health. Not having access to healthy food can increase our risk of having depression or anxiety. And IU already provides so many mental health support systems, but they seem to ignore one major factor, offering our students healthy, accessible food. Now, it can feel like it's impossible to make a change, especially since you're just one person. Oh, well, whatever, I'm just gonna have to eat the den, because what can I do? I've talked to so many students about this problem, and they've all agreed that we desperately need a change. So, here's my ideas for IU to make it a healthier campus. First, switching from UPF's ultra-processed foods to more whole foods, foods with little to no process in any way, shape, or form. Now, this doesn't have to be a complete and total cleanse. It doesn't have to be, bam, you wake up, there's a garden outside, there's just carrots flying around. That's impossible. But small changes over time, even if just vending machines, it will just help our campus health immensely. Another idea, investing in more businesses like Farmer's Fridge on campus, scattering them around, giving students more chances to eat healthy food. My final idea, which I think is the most important, is that IU should be actually reevaluating their idea of what healthy food is and then implementing it in the food that they provide. Because as of now, according to the IUI Health and Wellness page, their idea of a healthy snack, no more than 200 calories, no more than 1 gram of saturated fat, and no more than 20% of those calories coming from sugar. But so much of the food they give us completely fills all of those. They ignore their own idea of what healthy food is. And there are just so many better options that they could be giving us. One great example, one I love giving, is comparing a Snickers and a Thunderbird. They're pretty similar in taste, but so different in ingredients. Snickers, hydrogenated palm kernel oil. It's a long name. Glycerin and corn syrup. Thunderbird's ingredients you can actually read and ingredients you actually like to eat. Does anybody like eating glycerin? No, okay? Who likes, well, maybe people don't like dates, but who would rather eat a date than glycerin, okay? Now, removing these UPFs from our diet has an array of benefits, physically, mentally, and academically. Physically, according to the CDC, people who are eating more healthy whole foods show having better cognitive function, immune support, and just better overall health. And having students eat more healthy foods helps them prepare for future illnesses and diseases and even some cancers. Why don't we start focusing on helping ourselves now rather than just winging it in the future? Mentally, like I said before, and according to the Harvard Medical School, people who are eating more healthy whole foods show less signs of mental health problems. So more bad food, more risk of mental health problems, more healthy food, less risk. Academically, according to the biomedical grid, students who are eating more healthy whole foods a lot show higher motivation in their classes and even higher grades. Who doesn't want a higher grade, okay? Now, and being a campus that values academic success, innovation, all that good stuff, this shows that this is such a valuable change for our campus. Now, I can get off this stage. I can walk down, people will congratulate me, bam, that's the end. I throw these papers away. I'm gonna go to the den, get a burger tonight. Or I can actually do something. So what can we do as students, the people being affected by this problem? What can we do to make a change? First, you can go to dineoncampus.com. IU Indy Eats, the department directly in charge of our campus food, and get in touch with them. Either through their Get in Touch tab, you want to be a little step to the side, or you can be more, get in their face, tell they have direct contacts, tell them what you want on campus, tell them what you don't want. Another idea, just simply boycotting. Just avoid the ultra-processed junk as much as you can. It's hard when there's not a lot of options, but buying the good stuff, avoiding the bad, showing IU what you want. Now, when you go back to IU, or when you go back to IU tomorrow and you're getting food and you're just like, oh, I chose something that's good for me. You didn't. None of you guys, you look around the dining hall, none of you had an option. You all are eating the same ultra-processed junk. IU, this lack of healthy food is a pandemic here. We shouldn't be normalizing the freshman 15. We shouldn't be okay with an average diet being energy drinks and chips and fast food. We should be wanting protein, vegetables, and fruit as our college diet. Once again, I'm Sammy Fuller, and thank you.
Our fifth speaker for tonight is Tulsi Chaitanya. She is from Indianapolis, majoring in computer science with plans to become an AI engineer. In her free time, Tulsi enjoys painting, reading, and going to concerts. She's also currently learning her fifth language. That's right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Her professor is Professor Champion Shaw. With that, let's welcome Tulsi.
Hi, let's set the scene, right? You walk into your dream job interview. You've worked the last 4 years preparing for this moment. Every class, every exam, every assignment, every quiz has led to this moment. You had a healthy breakfast, setting the tone for the day, wear your best outfit, and show up as prepared as you can. You walk into the interview room, and instead of another person sitting there, there's a camera staring back at you. As you begin answering questions, your facial expressions, your tone, your voice, every single word you say is being analyzed in real time. And before you even leave the room, a decision has already been made about you. Not by a human being, but by a machine. I know, it sounds a little extreme, almost like that doesn't happen, but it is becoming increasingly common in the hiring space today. And as students who are about to enter the workforce, especially in this job market, we need to be aware of what's going on. AI decisions impact how people are hired today. And these decisions will impact your future opportunities, our future careers, and our future incomes. Ours, mine, and yours. I chose to research this topic because, like I said, this is one of the most competitive job markets that we are about to enter. You need to know what is going to be affecting you with how your future is going to unfold. And so this is why it's important. I've been researching using the World Economic Forum and the MIT Technology Review, and honestly, it's kind of shocking. It's incredible how widespread AI has become in the hiring process and how much it will continue to grow as we progress. Many of you are freshmen, which just goes to show there's 4 more years or 3.5 years where this is only going to grow. And this is why I firmly believe that the United States government should regulate the use of AI in hiring processes to ensure transparency, accountability, and fairness. So what is the problem? Like I said, AI is being widely used in hiring processes today. It's already being used. So many companies are using AI to screen resumes, screen applicants, rank applicants. And so before a human being even looks at your application, you're probably receiving a rejection email, and you don't know why. And according to the World Economic Forum, this problem is only going to get worse because a larger number of companies are starting to use AI, depend on AI for these hiring processes. And it just goes to show us that this isn't a future problem. It's a current problem. It's happening and is only going to get worse and affect us more every single day. The second one. Bias. AI is often seen as something that is objective, right? It's an algorithm. How can it be biased? We tend to forget that AI is completely and entirely built off of human data. Data that we've generated, data that we've created, data that we feed it. It is founded on human-provided data. And we can't lie to ourselves. There's so many industries, so many professions, so many jobs and areas where certain groups of people have been biased or have been excluded from certain things. And so when you use AI, you're not eliminating that bias. All you're doing is feeding the information that will help automate the bias. It's only becoming automated, right? And this happened at one of the largest technology companies across the world. Amazon created an AI hiring tool that penalized resumes that used the word women's. Any resume that had it, immediately rejected. That shows a clear gender bias, no? And according to Reuters, it immediately had to be shut down. It's happening, you guys. The third one, the lack of transparency. Companies are using it. Even if they don't tell you they're using it, they are using AI in their hiring processes. And there's absolutely no transparency with how they're using it, where they're using it, or what's being used to evaluate you as an applicant for a certain job. Why didn't you make the cut? You're never going to know. And it just feels unfair and random when you finally receive that rejection email, because you're like, what happened? I thought it went so great. And sometimes you don't even hear back because you're slipping through the cracks. There's really no clear way to appeal those AI-based decisions or even question them. If it's a real person where you're interviewing with them and they say you didn't make the cut, you can ask them what went wrong. How can I improve? Am I missing experiences? Am I missing courses? Am I missing anything? What can I do better to be better prepared to get a job that is of similar degree? How can you improve? But with this, AI is essentially creating a black box. Everything is hidden. You can't ask questions. You don't know. Often the people operating these tools don't even know why someone got rejected. And according to MIT Technology Review, it is a black box. So clearly, we see a problem, and we understand the need for regulation. Someone needs to step in and cut this down, change the way we use it. Now, I am a software engineer. I'm not against AI. I believe in AI, and that's what I want to get into. So how do we include AI in this process in a way that is not taking away from people, discouraging people, but only helping them and pushing them to be better? The first one I could come up with was human oversight. The use of AI in hiring needs to include human oversight. At some stage in the process, we need to have a real person look at an applicant's application and consider them wholeheartedly for that position. Don't just let them be rejected by an algorithm that doesn't make any sense. Human beings, without oversight, are being reduced to almost data points, or more than that, right? And we need to be considered as a whole. By looking at a resume, you really can't see potential. You can't see someone's experiences and efforts. But a human being listening to that can recognize your potential. We need them to be transparent. When and how is AI being used? How can you benefit from it? And how can you do better? So what can you do? We need regulation, like I said. You can't ignore what's happening. Don't turn a blind eye. You need to be involved. Be aware, take action. Start asking if AI is being used, how it's being used. Demand transparency from companies when it seems unclear or inaccurate. Support policies that regulate AI and use your voice through voting, advocacy, and conversations. A machine cannot understand you. Your passion, your experiences, your effort, your potential, your story, you. Future hiring should not be a machine's responsibility. It needs to be done by a human being, not an algorithm. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Our next speaker, our sixth speaker, is going to be Caitlin Graber. She is from here in Indianapolis, majoring in biology and planning to become an anesthesiologist's assistant. In her free time, Caitlin enjoys reading, running, and dancing, and she's also traveled to 8 countries. I'm jealous. Her professor is Professor De Janeiro. Please welcome Caitlin to the stage.
Wrong way. Hi. All right, so raise your hand if you've ever believed something to be true and realized you were misled by fake news. Everyone here, right? And if you didn't raise your hand, you might want to check your sources more. Now raise your hand if you can honestly say you've ever done research on one of your core values. We are all shaped by our environment. Through our friends, family, and social media, this is often where our thoughts, beliefs, and opinions come from. I grew up in a very Christian household, and there was no questioning our belief. And truth be told, I never really did, until I went to college and one of my friends challenged me. She asked me why I truly believed my religion was the one and correct one. And I realized that I based a lot of my opinions and morals off this foundational aspect of my life, just because that's how it's always been. So today, I will first share the problem with how we are no longer thinking for ourselves. Then I will discuss how we can implement a class to help this. And finally, I will help you envision how this class could change society's awareness and broaden attitudes and beliefs. Culture is a power behind every aspect of our life. It is a power that is not considered, instead manipulates us through invisible strings. It is what tells us what is acceptable or normal, and we start absorbing this at a very young age through social conditioning. James L. Patterson states that social conditioning is a sociological process of training individuals in a society to respond in a manner generally approved by a society and peer groups within a society. So if everyone around you believes in something, you will also believe in its truth. This is because familiarity brings comfort, and that is derived from our culture. Let's take American schools versus Japan schools for an example. Sia explains how in America, we only need to conform to school rules while we're in the classroom. Yet in Japan, they need to conform as long as their school uniform is on. That means they're not allowed to sit on a public bus, chew gum, or even consume snacks until they go home and change out of it. At least in my culture, we truly believe in being our own person to the point where if our high school tried to make us conform outside of the classroom, there would probably be a riot. Now, we no longer get a feeling of belonging through our local society and family anymore, but also through our devices. Everyday media like TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook don't just show us content, but it learns what we like, how long we linger, and what we search for. Using this information, it will create an algorithm for you to show you the same videos over and over again, and even if those videos are false, you'll believe its truth through the illusory truth effect. The Decision Lab states that the illusory truth effect describes how when we hear the same false information repeated again and again, we often come to believe it is true. Think of all the times thousands of people have believed something just because they saw a TikTok video over it. Which, actually, Capital states that a 2022 report found that roughly a fifth of TikTok videos contain misinformation. You guys remember when we killed off Kris Jenner? Yeah, that was an awful day for me, I'm not gonna lie. But it all comes down to the same thing. We cling to a community and the comfort of having one, even if it is through false truths. Now, social media has been shaping our society for about 2 decades now, but religion has been doing this for thousands of years. Religion has a strong hold on our society and has had it for generations. Most people start going to church at a very early age, and being a part of that community feel the need to fit in. Eric Toll states that a conformity bias is related to peer pressure and occurs when you allow your views to be swayed by others because you're seeking acceptance from a group. So being surrounded by these perfectly happy people secure in their belief will and can change your opinion. This is a form of gentle yet invisible peer pressure. And countries took advantage of this a lot in the 1400s. As we all know, they would make it illegal to practice any religion other than the king's. And if you question it, you can be punished or even executed. Thankfully, most countries today allow free religious practices and people no longer have to worry about their safeties. Yet, with this freedom, we still tend to stick to the religion we were born into. Why? Because it is human nature to need community, and with community is shared beliefs. Yet these beliefs were not created between you or me, but from words written centuries ago. Are you questioning if these words still hold value to who you're becoming today? Now think how we could evolve as a society from years from now if we implement this complex way of thinking into everyone's schedule. We are so used of being in our comfort zone, we don't ever think of leaving them. What if we created a class that joins high school curriculums to test our comfort zones and allow us to think outside of the box? At an age where students are learning who they are, we implement this class to show them there's more than what they know. Students will be challenged to absorb a different culture or religion every week, and they will get totally immersed into them. Now, we do have classes like sociology and psychology that will teach us things like this, but that is a very academically based class. This class would be a discussion base that will go deeper than what normal classrooms will go to. And by adding this class, our world would become more understanding of diverse cultures at a time that we are truly divided as a society. We need to become more understanding of a society to live the best that we can. Through social media and biased feelings over our own cultures, we are creating these divisions we see in today's world. People must be careful with what they say, or they'll be canceled. You guys know Chris Pratt? Did you know that he is being canceled online right now? All because he made an award-winning speech talking about Christianity and thanking God for the position he was in today. Online society has taken this and has said that he's a bad person and we need to cancel him because he's a Christian, and Christians hate the LGBTQ community. Yet, Christianity teaches us to love all of our neighbors. So, how did it get this stigma? Of course, through bad apples, but also the presence of online social media posts. This class would be imperative to allow students to learn that our assumptions on other cultures and religion can be wildly wrong. It would help build a more accepting society and teach students how to critically think around diverse cultures. A way that we can implement this is by contacting our old high school superintendents. They are the ones that create the curriculums and set goals for students in high schools. If you can talk to them directly, that might help fast track this idea of this class getting into the high schools. Yet now, I do understand how one person advocating for it won't go anywhere. So another group that you can contact is the Parent-Teacher Association. With them backing you up, this might be taken as a more serious idea. And all these ways are to help the future generations, but as college students, we should also be testing our values. And you can do this tomorrow. Read an opposing article and see how this aligns or misaligns with how you view the world. Or ask your friend about their religion and learn more about their culture. I'm not saying to outright change your opinions, but challenge them every once in a while and gain new perspectives. Because today, we went over how our own culture, social media, and religion can influence us so much we are no longer thinking for ourselves, how we can implement this class to help this critical thinking issue, and how this could positively affect society. So remember, to get vast knowledge to create your own opinion, it is a necessity to become uncomfortable. Thank you.
All right, guys, our final speaker for the night, hang in tight, it's gonna be a great one. Her name is Hannah Bryson Price. She is from also here in Indianapolis with a major in creative writing and Spanish. In her free time, Hannah enjoys reading, listening to music, and writing poetry. Her instructor is Dr. Sisson, and please help me welcome Hannah to the stage as our last speaker for the night.
Whoops, all right. Hi, my name is Hannah Bryson Price, and today I'll be talking about real-world education. But first, by show of hands, how many people here felt isolated, stressed, depressed, or lost during the pandemic? Because I know I did. Okay, so a good number of us, right? And we all know how those feelings can hinder our day-to-day lifestyles. Now, COVID-19 fundamentally altered the way our society conducts itself. We see it in our education system. We see it here at IUI through the incorporation of synchronous, asynchronous, and hybrid classes. Now I'm gonna be real with you. I dropped out of college during the pandemic because I hated the online aspect of it. I also did not take one of my finals. I'm so sorry, Mom. But I jumped into the workforce and realized I was wholly unprepared for the real world. No one ever really teaches it to you until you get there. That is why I believe that hands-on consumer and family science courses must be incorporated into core curriculum to reduce academic stress and bridge education gaps. Now, let's talk about learning loss for a second. So when you think about learning loss, I want you to think of forgetting what you learned over the summer or over your winter break when you're in between semesters, that kind of concept. Now, that is also something that is very disruptive to our society. Now, the Annie E. Casey Foundation is a Baltimore-based private philanthropy group, and they did some research of the impact of COVID-19 on our education system. Now, one of their conclusions is this: the sudden shift to remote learning platforms decreased instructional time and hindered student learning. Many students struggled to stay focused in class and were less likely to seek help when needed. They also found that in 2019, 33% of eighth graders were proficient or above in math, whereas in 2022, that decreased to 26%. So a pretty steep drop right there. This is poor performance that we're seeing from our students, and not only that, but lack of basic communication skills. Not only like that, but many of us are also stressed like our students are. The American Psychological Association did a study of 3,000 students and found that 75% of high school students and 50% of middle school students are stressed in an environment that's supposed to be working for them, that's supposed to nurture them. Now, to me, that's a pretty staggering statistic. We have half and more than half of our students stressed, and I'm sure we can all relate to that. Now, K-12 is an online accessible tool for online education, and they state that 32% of teens feel unprepared for adulthood. Now, the graphs that I have here are from a very small portion of their survey. So I'm going to be focusing on the qualitative data versus the quantitative. However, the qualitative data still stands. Now, students are concerned about managing money, living independently, communicating effectively to connect back to the Annie E. Casey Foundation. So here we're seeing students afraid of feeling unprepared. We're seeing students being afraid of talking to their adults, their trusted adults. This is to demonstrate that our students are worried about having basic skills that you need to function in everyday life. There is zero reason that after 12 years of schooling, any of us should feel like we're unprepared for the real world. So that is why I propose we generate a policy to incorporate hands-on consumer and family science courses, or home ec, back into our core curriculum. And this would include things like mental health management, also personal financing, learning about your local and participating in your local governments, not just your federal one, shop-style courses, the process of buying a home because no one knows what that's like and what it entails. Also, it would include things like cooking classes, first aid, and community service. But why are we doing hands-on specifically? Hands-on classes from the National Library of Medicine have been found that active learning increases test performance by half a letter, whereas traditional lectures alone increase failure by 55%. So once we get people actually active in our classrooms and participating a little bit more, making them move around, they'll actually care a little bit more about what they're doing instead of just sitting there and listening to an instructor drone on and on and on about something that's not working for them, something that's not applying for them. Now, consumer and family science courses phased out in the 2010s, and we switched to more academic-based learning. Now, we need to invest in our students, and they need to feel invested in. Integrating this kind of education removes the uncertainty of our ordinary lives and lays a foundation to pursue higher academia or a personal advancement if that's what the student wants. Not only that, but centralizing this and making it a requirement puts learning back into the classroom and also provides equal access to those who may or may not have that kind of love or support at home, especially in an economy where a lot of parents are working 2 jobs just to stay afloat or pay for their students' education. Now, not only that, but applied academics puts personal purpose back into our education. Now, if the happiest country in the world can do it, there's no reason that we can't either. Let's talk about Finland. Finland incorporates real-life education into their core curriculum. The Forbes magazine on March 18th, 2026, so not that long ago, named Finland the happiest country in the world for the 9th year in a row. Now, there's no shame in learning from countries who are excelling. As a matter of fact, we should. We should give our students a chance to be happy and not feel so much stress while they're in school. And they deserve to know that we care. And one thing about Finland is that they show their people that they care about them by giving them the necessary foundational education. So, the National Center on Education in the Economy states that Finland added transversal competences to their education. What does this mean? So this means things like cultural competence, learning about self-expression, and lo and behold, what it means to function in an everyday life. Because prepared adults lead to cohesive and more understanding societies. And in a time of turmoil and polarization and aggression, I think we need more prepared adults and better societies in general. So, this kind of seems like a large feat, kind of seems like you don't know where to start. The best way to start one with any sort of change is just by sharing an idea. The other way that we can do this is start right here at home to get the ball rolling. You can contact the Indiana Department of Education with this QR code. It'll take you to a suggestion form. If you're not a phone caller person like I am, I'm not doing that, but I would rather fill out the form, and you can let them know that American consumer and family science courses have a home in our education system. Now, because listening to students and meeting them where they're at will help us bridge education gaps and reduce their worries. Because nurture is a lost art in education. And I think we all sometimes would feel like we wished that we were more invested in. So we should put nurture back into education. So I'll leave you with this. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Thank you.
All right, thank you everybody for sticking with us only a little bit more. Now it's time for the fun part. You all get to vote. We had a wonderful group of speakers here tonight, so let's give them one more round of applause. Put those hands to work. Thank you all for your support and positivity. As we begin this voting portion of our speech contest, I've got to remind you of the rules. You're going to rank all of those contestants 1st through 7th and use that QR code that is in your event agenda, but will also be displayed up on the screen. If that doesn't work, that link should also be in your event agenda if you'd rather type that one in. While the voting is going on, I know I'm pretty funny. I could be up here cracking some jokes. I'm quite jokey, but I'll leave you to our entertainer, Joy Caroline Mills, for some fun live music while you guys lock in those votes.
Hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing okay. Wow, such amazing speakers tonight. I'm so grateful to be here and to have been able to hear them. I also want to thank Professor Sisson for inviting me to come play. Super happy to be here tonight with all of you while you're voting. I hope that's what you're doing right now. This is also a really just hallowed space here in Indianapolis, the Madam Walker Legacy Center. And I just think it's amazing that almost 100 years later we can all gather here and celebrate the arts in the future and these amazing students who gave some really amazing speeches today. So my name is Joy. I'm going to play a few songs for you while you're voting. This first song is a song that I wrote called Crooked Pictures. In the hush of the morning, we made it to the dawn. In blue skies and oceans and dreaming up somewhere. Can you hold emotion in your hand? Can you be all you pretend? And hey, what do you see? Why don't we got no reason to stay? And hey, what do you see? I already know you can leave in the end anyway. Hush of the one and you're here, but then you're gone. I know it's not what you wanted, but it's me I'm working on. And can you hold emotion in your hand? Can you be all you pretend? And hey, what do you see? Why don't we go? I've got no reason to stay. And hey, what do you see? I already know. You can leave me. I'm always chasing down the same old train. I'm always looking for that one true thing. I'm always wondering if I can change them. Crooked pictures don't fit in frame. Hey, what do you say? Why don't we go? I've got no reason. And hey, what do you say? I already know. You can leave in the end, but don't leave in the end anyway. Oh, anyway. But don't leave in the end anyway. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. This next song I'm going to play is a song called Counting Clocks. I don't know if anyone remembers, I'm hoping you do. They used to have analog clocks in airports and at the BMV. And I wrote this song about missing someone and kind of this idea in my head that, you know, I would be counting the clocks, whether it's at the airport or at the BMV, until I saw this person again. And so that's where the title came from. So this is Counting Clocks. You know that I'll be on the first flight that I can. If it means that tonight I'll be in your hands. You know that all you have to do is ask me to. And I'll come back to you, back to you. And so we drink to the moments, 'cause they don't come around often, no, not like they used to. And I miss you. I've been counting clocks till I see you again. Been loving you so long that time just don't exist. But you're halfway around the world, I know. But as far as we are, could we still be close? Still be close? Could we still be close? Yeah. You know that I'll jump on the first train that I see. If it means that you'll be at the end waiting for me. You know that all you have to do is ask me to. And I will come back to you. And so we drink to the moments, 'cause they don't come around often, no, not like they used to. And I just miss you. I've been counting clocks till I see you again. Been loving you so just don't exist. But you're halfway around the world, I know. But as far as we are, can we still be close? Still be close? Could we still be close? I've been counting clocks till I see you again. Been loving you so long that time just don't exist. But you're halfway around the world, I know. But as far as we are, could we still be close? Still be close? Could we still be close? Could we still be close? Could we still be close? Thank you. How's everybody doing? Have we voted? Raise your hands if you voted. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Oh, is it? Awesome. All right, I'm going to sing one or two more for you here tonight. But keep voting. This is a song called Recover. Picture you driving on the interstate. Same face you gave me when you walked away. Happy you're wearing those same shades. Listen to mix that you forgot me. But even stronger than liquor, your memory numbs me quicker. Even though you're not here with me, baby, well, I wish you would be. Now I've seen the sunset from so many places, now of so many faces, but yours I miss the most. Now how could I forget? You told me you're leaving and I couldn't believe it. And God, I miss you so, and I know you can love another, but I won't ever recover. I won't ever how the weather is in Indianapolis, and I wonder if you're halfway according to. I should forget you, but I just can't. Some things I know I will never understand, but even stronger than liquor, your memory numbs me quicker. Even though you're not here with me, baby, well, I wish you would be. 'Cause now I've seen the sunset from so many places, now of so many faces, but yours I miss the most. Now how could I forget? You told me you're leaving and I couldn't believe it. And God, I miss you so, and I know you can love another, but I won't ever recover. And how will I ever recover? Yeah, how will I ever recover? Thank you guys so much. That's all I've got. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait to hear more about these speakers and everything. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, Joy. Soon, you'll know the results of this competition. But before that, let's take a moment, just a quick moment, together to think about the semester endured and the night that we've shared. First, again, thank you to Joy Caroline Mills for helping enhance the evening. If you haven't yet, check out some of her work elsewhere. She has some fun music and art combos on YouTube and often plays at local venues. Now, I've had the pleasure to watch our lab grow and change shape over several semesters. This semester, as you were visiting us, we added some events to help our community in new ways. Thank you for trying things out with us. As we get ready to move forward together, think about what's led to this. Our 110 instructors, please stand. Thank you for guiding students throughout the semester. As for tonight, the IU Indy events crew, the SLA videography team, including our camera operators, and my fellow mentors from the lab should all take a bow. We are indebted to you. And as a side note, our graduate director is leaving soon, so please join us in thanking Ernest Agord for his excellent support in all things mentoring this year. Finalists and families, thank you for sharing your messages with us. Now it's your turn. Pat yourself on the back. You've put in the effort to practice and refine your skills to help you for years to come. And with that, Kaylin is going to join us on the stage.
All right, I kid. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We really appreciate your kindness and your positivity in this wonderful, wonderful speech night of our spring 2026 semester. Tonight, our lab director, Ernest Agord, and the undergraduate director, Natalie Teisinger, will be presenting our awards. While they're setting up, if we could please have one more round of applause and bring our lovely contestants and their instructors on the stage. Make a lovely little line for me. It's time. Tonight's third-placed finalist is, drumroll please, Hannah Bryson Price. Second place, drumroll, 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 is Ava Ferguson. And in first place, okay, now I'm gonna need a better drum roll. Come on. Yeah! First place and the winner of the 110th Speech Night competition is Shumirai Chigatsa. Thank you all so incredibly much for coming out and supporting our contestants in tonight's event. And thank you to everybody who was involved in making this wonderful event happen. Now please be wary of the weather, give yourself a pat on the back, and congratulations, you just passed your final. Have a good night, everyone.